Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. It is the biggest game of the week. Some are calling it the biggest game of the year. It's number 2, Ohio State. Number 5, Michigan in the game. The game that will decide who wins the Big Ten East. The game that has major college football playoff implications. And guys, of course, this is happening in one of the biggest and best rivalries in all of college football. So we're here to break down everything you need to know for the game between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines in Ann Arbor. Who is going to walk away with a division crown and keep their college football playoff hopes alive? That is what we are here to talk about today. We're here to break down both teams and, of course, share our official prediction. So once again, guys, thank you for joining us here at the Gridiron Expert. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. Go sign up for expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country over there, guys. We're hitting over 65% of our bets over the last 5 weeks in college. You do not want to miss out on these, guys. I'm telling you. One of the lowest prices in the country, some of the most accurate picks in the country. Take advantage of them now. They're a year-long subscription, so you'd have it for the rest of this year, including every bowl game and well into next season as well. And make sure to go check out our promo code over on MyBookie. The link and code is down in the description below as well. They're going to give you a 100% sign-up bonus if you go and sign up right now using our code GridExpert. So make sure to go take a look at that. MyBookie, guys, one of the best sports book out there. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Again, guys, take advantage of it. Everything in the description is there for you. So take advantage of it and start making a little bit of money, especially around this holiday season. So we take a look at Ohio State and Michigan, guys. If you are a fan of either team, or even if you're just a casual college football fan, you know that Ohio State has dominated this series for nearly 2 decades now. Ohio State has won 8 straight over Michigan. 8 straight games over Michigan, and only 3 of those 8 games have been decided by 1 possession. So the Buckeyes have dominated, and they haven't really been making it close. Only a few games have been really worth watching well into the second half. Michigan has beaten Ohio State just 3 times since 2000. Michigan has won 3 times since 2000. That's it. So this is a very lopsided rivalry right now. Ohio State dominating the Wolverines. But guys, this game, number 2, number 5, what's at stake, is giving us major 2016 vibes. If you remember back in 2016, these 2 teams met in Columbus, and it was like number 2 and number 3. And we knew, the winner was going to the Big Ten Championship. We knew that the playoff berths were on the line. Ohio State won that game in overtime. A thrilling game. Controversial for some, but a thrilling game that ended up sending Ohio State to the Big Ten Championship and eliminating Michigan from any other contention. So that's kind of what's at stake now, and this time it's in Ann Arbor. Will the big house be enough to give Michigan the win here? We take a look at the offenses. We'll start with Ohio State. Why? Because maybe they're the best in the country. I wholeheartedly believe, guys, this Ohio State offense is the best offense in the country. They're averaging 47.2 points per game, 559.5 yards per game. So nearly 600 yards per game, and those numbers aren't skewed. We've played 11 games. For every team, they're 11 games in, and those numbers are still holding true. And the Buckeyes are averaging 362.3 passing yards per game, led by a true Heisman candidate in C.J. Stroud, who's thrown for nearly 3,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. First year as a starter for Ohio State, and he's putting up those kind of numbers. And you look at how he's doing it. Ohio State arguably has the best wide receiver core in the country. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Those 3 players have combined for 30 of the 36 touchdowns that C.J. Stroud has thrown. 30 of the 36 touchdowns from 3 wide receivers. So they can beat you anywhere. There's no one primary receiver that Michigan or any opponent has to lock down on. You have to lock down all 3. And guess what? If the passing game gets slowed down, that's fine. They have a guy named Travion Henderson in their backfield who's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. Ohio State nearly averaging 200 rushing yards per game. So this Buckeyes offense can beat you in all areas. They want to pass the ball. They can pass the ball. That's what they want to do, but they have a very capable running game as well. And that just spells trouble for any defense that they're going up against. When you look at Michigan, these 2 teams offensively, style-wise, are very different. Ohio State wants to throw the ball. They're good at throwing the ball. Michigan wants to run the ball, and they're very good at running the ball. The Wolverines are averaging 218.4 rushing yards per game. So well over 200 rushing yards per game on the year. And they're led by Hassan Haskins, who's rushed for over 1,000 yards and 13 touchdowns. But, we'll say this. Well, Michigan has been able to have their way against the majority of their opponents on the ground. The majority of their opponents, they have dominated on the ground. No one can stop them. Cade McNamara at quarterback is getting better every single week. And I really think he genuinely hit his stride in that loss to Michigan State. We knew that Michigan State had a very poor secondary, and Ohio State, you can certainly attest to that. But we knew Michigan State had a poor secondary, and McNamara, despite the loss, nearly threw for 400 yards. And I think that was the first game for many that said, okay, if needed, McNamara can get the job done. McNamara can throw the ball. And so far, he's been very accurate this year, guys. So I have faith in McNamara this year, in this game against Ohio State, that if Ohio State shuts down this Michigan run game, that McNamara can do some damage through the air. He's thrown for over 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions, and is completing 64.2% of his passes. Now, we'll say this one last thing about Michigan here. They're averaging 36.9 points per game, so about 10 points less, a little over 10 points less than what Ohio State's averaging. Michigan, by no means, is as explosive and as electric as Ohio State's offense. No, by no means they are close to that. But what Michigan is they are efficient. They are getting the job done. Most teams that like to control the clock and tend to run the ball first, and that's their strength, they're not going to be very flashy. They're not going to be very explosive. But they're going to wear you down. They're going to get the ball in the end zone. They're going to get points, and they're going to dominate time of possession. That's something that Michigan needs to consider doing here. The longer you can keep C.J. Stroud off the field, the better, as long, of course, as Michigan is getting in the end zone. If you're going to go waste a 5-6 minute drive, you better come away with some points, preferably a touchdown against this offense. But the longer Michigan keeps that Ohio State offense off the field, the better. The Wolverines have been held to under 30 points just 3 times this season, guys, so they can hang. They can hang with Ohio State offensively, but the Buckeyes, to me, certainly own that offensive edge. When you look at the defense, this is going to be the difference maker, guys. This is obviously where the game will be made. Who steps up defensively? Michigan stepping up against the pass, Ohio State stepping up against the run. And I will say this, Ohio State has progressively gotten better on defense ever since the beginning of the year. You go all the way back to early September, guys, when they allowed, 31 points to Minnesota. And then the next week, they allowed 35 points at home to Oregon. And then the next week, they allowed over 500 yards to Tulsa. And everybody said, what is going on with Ohio State's defense? And everybody at that point said, there is no way Ohio State's making the playoff. Their defense is terrible. The offense is sputtering. There's no way. And now look at them. After that horrible start, those first 3 games that we mentioned, they have held 6 of their last 8 opponents to under 20 points. Ohio State is allowing just 19 points per game. And they're allowing just 103.5 rushing yards per game. That's your key number. That's your key number. 103.5 rushing yards per game. They just held Kenneth Walker III at Michigan State. They just held him to 25 rushing yards last week. They held Michigan State as a whole to 66 rushing yards last week in that 56-7 victory. And again, the Spartans really never stood a chance pretty much from the get-go there. And obviously when you get down 14, 21, 28, you're going to kind of ditch the run and start throwing the ball. But still, you have an electric back like that, Kenneth Walker, who torched Michigan, held him to 25 yards. So Ohio State defensively has gotten so much better. And against the run, they're very, very solid. And for Michigan, that's not good. That's not good news. So this is a game where you think, okay, maybe Cade McNamara is going to have to do a little bit more through the air. Maybe going to do a little bit more through the air here, guys. And Ohio State doing a pretty good job secondary-wise, improving 11 interceptions on the year. So, again, Ohio State's defense, drastically different from where we were at the beginning of the year, getting better and riding high after a dominant performance over another top 10 team. Can they do it again? Michigan defensively, statistically, a little bit better than Ohio State. The Wolverines are allowing just 16.3 points per game, just 306.8 total yards per game. And, we always say, hey, if you are allowing 300 yards per game or less, you're doing a really good job defensively. Michigan's only 6.8 yards above that, so not too bad. They're allowing 178.4 passing yards per game, 128.5 rushing yards per game. So again, the passing number is key. Both of these teams, guys, Ohio State defensively would be holding Michigan to well under their season average, and Michigan doing the same with the passing game. So really, it's a matter of which one's going to give, which one's going to break, because you can make a case that this is definitely going to be best passing team that Michigan has seen. You could make a case that this is going to be the best rushing team that Ohio State has seen. Although Ohio State played a good rushing team in Minnesota, did play a good rushing team in Oregon, played a solid rushing team in Penn State. So you pick your battles and make that decision on your own. But again, both these teams are very efficient in what they do. When you look at Michigan, guys, we just said they might be the best passing game they face, and we agree with that. The best they've faced so far this year might be what? Penn State. Michigan won that game, allowed 223 passing yards. Maryland, if you want. Michigan killed Maryland last week and held them to 178 passing yards. None of those two teams compare to the explosiveness that Ohio State has. But I will say this about Michigan. They are very good in terms of the front seven. Got a great pass rush, and they're great at taking the ball away. 15 forced turnovers from the Wolverines, 28 sacks on the year from Michigan. Of course, Aiden Hutchinson being the major reason for that. 9 sacks on the year for Aiden Hutchinson, who seems destined to be a first-round draft pick when the draft rolls around in April. So the pass rush for Michigan going up against Ohio State offensive line that's giving up just 13 sacks on the year, that's going to be key. How much penetration, how much push can that Michigan front seven get against Ohio State and C.J. Stroud? Can they make C.J. Stroud uncomfortable in the pocket, guys? Because if you give him time to throw, he's going to beat you every time. So what's going to happen in Ann Arbor on Saturday, guys? 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff. Winner goes to the Big Ten Championship. Most likely plays Wisconsin. Maybe could be Iowa. But regardless, gets there. They win that, they're in the playoff. The loser gets their second loss, and they're done. They're done. No playoff, no Big Ten title. Everything is on the line on Saturday. And Ohio State, guys, could be pushing a double-digit favorite come Saturday. Right now, they're about 8.5-point favorites. So if you like that bet or you don't like that bet, get it in early. Go over to MyBookie right now, punch it in. But, I do think this is going to be a solid game. I really do. I said earlier it gives me 2016 vibes. I hope we get to see a 2016-type game where it's close, back and forth, and we don't see Michigan getting blown out by halftime of the third quarter and everybody can turn it off. I don't think you're going to see that. Not at home. This Michigan team, they feel different. They feel different. They've been playing different. But like we've said over and over and over again, and like we've said back in the summer when we do preseason predictions, I cannot pick Michigan to win this game until it actually happens. And while this may be one of the better chances they've had in a long, long time, while this may be one of the better chances they've had under Jim Harbaugh, keep in mind, Jim Harbaugh has never defeated Ohio State. Hasn't won in Columbus, hasn't won in Ann Arbor, and I don't think it happens this year. Ohio State, guys, they're rolling, and they're rolling big. Not saying they're going to roll big in this game, but that offense looks dang near unstoppable, even for a solid defense like Michigan. So I think in a game that's a little bit closer than it typically is, Ohio State does walk into Ann Arbor. They do escape Ann Arbor with a victory, which will send them to the Big Ten Championship, which means they will be one win away from getting back to the college football playoff. The game, guys, it is the game. It is the game to watch, the game of the week, potentially the game of the year. Do not miss it. Saturday morning, Ohio State, Michigan, number 2, number 5. Get ready. It's rivalry week, one of the best times of the year. And this, guys, is what it's all about. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. Go sign up for expert picks over on thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best football, both college and NFL, spread picks in the entire country. Go sign up for those today. Make sure to go sign up using MyBookie, our promo code GridExpert over there. The link, description, link in the promo codes and everything are down in the description, so make sure to take advantage of that. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.